Thanks indeed for staying with us and keeping faith with your darling station, Independent Television. My name is Ikarot. I hope you enjoyed that new segment by Saroname Ibisugbe. It's now time for us to talk aviation this morning. Those of us who are flying, those of us who somewhat enjoy the cruise, those of us who may enjoy taxi and somehow make all those telephone calls. Hey, we are boarded, we are about taking off here. I want to call you and switch off the phone. I may not be calling you later. And if you had this long in-flight on taxi call, somehow those guys will tell you, hey, we're about taking off, can you please switch it off? Okay, Mr. Gordon and EK's details are on the screen there. If you can follow the number, his numbers are there, as well as the email address. You could see there, the website. You could go there, the YouTube channel. You get most of the videos around here, as well as his Twitter handle, all for you to just somehow keep them, snap it, keep it, someone write it down, so that you can interface with him, because somehow it's good for you to know what happens around you when you are flying. Your advice may just help change situation. My name is Arata again, and Mr. Godwin NK is in the house. A wonderful, wonderful morning, sir.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Hi.
Oh, thank God. Weekend was good, cool, was nice. We all talked about labor, talked about the planned strike, to be or not to be, and all of the, and you want to just rest and you have politics like this.
I actually,
flies all over your ears.
I actually had a piece of news that really, really shocked me, and I just hope it doesn't happen, that from midnight tonight, all flights, both local and international, will be grounded. And I hope somebody somewhere helps this nation and solve this problem. We don't need a strike. I think we
don't know how they'll do it here, but we just hope that we could fly. Let's see if we can get what we call the essential sectors here, and we leave aviation open. We leave somewhat the road open. We leave the hospitals open. But somehow, Labour will tell you that if we don't grant those key sectors, government will not listen to us. And I hope, like what I told Usas earlier, that the governors will be around, because whether we like it or not here, the federal government cannot solve the problem. The governors appear to even be more in the problem than even the federal government. Federal government can say, look, we can pay. Federal government is saying, look, let's pay 24 plus. State are saying, I want to pay 22 plus here, and Labour says 30. So federal government is even closer to Labour, but unless the governors gather in Abuja to take decision, it's difficult to
this is purely an aviation program, I do understand, but politics is part of life, and it's part
and
of...
No, in aviation, the workers' pay is very important. We've seen British Airways staff done tool, we've seen Lufthansa done tool. In aviation, the workers are also in...
I want to really express my opinion on this. It's very ridiculous and borders on sense of irresponsibility for any governor in this country to say he cannot pay 30,000 a month.
But they've not paid it.
Yeah, it's all part of it. It's all part of it. Because if you follow through what's going on in states and what our governors, how they spend money and the payments that they make to, in terms of even those of them who have retired and moved into the Senate, they still sitting there, collect all the allowances, and at the same time collect pension from the states. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. States can save money and be able to pay their workers. We just have to get serious in this nation. We are here to joke a lot.
Okay, let me bring you back home now, because we have to talk aviation here. If I leave you the way you're going here, you're already getting passionate about it. You're already sounding like a Labour leader, and Ayuba Waba may be watching us now and say, hey, I got a comrade on set here. But let's leave that. Let's talk about aviation. What are we looking at this morning?
Oh, well, I tell you, remember last week I had promised my teaming fans and followers that we would be looking at the Indonesian, air crash, today. But something happened. You won't believe it. Late on Friday night, one of my followers, a football fan, called, and he was really livid with anger. And he said to me, "Gotti, why would you so ignore the fact that a big football individual, owner of Leicester City, football club, died in such a horrible helicopter crash, and you haven't considered it important enough to talk to us and tell us what could have happened?" Even though they know that the investigations are still going on, but according to him, he flattered me so much and said he knew I would have something really reasonable to tell them. And then right there and then, I made a promise, even though it was quite, late in the day, but it got me working 24 hours.
But before then, here, have you gotten any details on the Indonesian air flight, the crash?
No, so far they've discovered one of the black boxes, but the very important one, which is a voice recorder, as at the last time I checked, they were still searching, and then of course they've been busy, recovering bodies and body parts, by the way, because the way the airplane was said to have slammed into the waters, tore everything in it, into shreds. And so body parts have been, recovered. A few, full bodies have been found, and but the suspicion is that most of the bodies will still be in the main hull of the airplane that is still in the belly of the sea. They're really working hard and working around the clock to get us more information. But then we must wait and find the voice recorder and listen to the conversations between the pilots, and then be able to really, find out what happened in that cockpit.
So that new plane?
Until we find out exactly what happened, it will be speculative for anyone to pin a finger on what could have happened to that airplane. But remember, I always say to my listeners and watchers, airplanes are as old as their missed checks. You remember when I said once that I would rather fly a 20-year-old plane that is undergone a D check sincerely and successfully than fly a 6-month-old airplane that is due for an air check and that check was not done. I would rather fly the 20-year-old. I told you that before.
Correct.
So airplanes are as old as their missed checks and are as new as their checks done. So, so that's where we are. By next week, Monday, I will be able to bring to our teaming viewers an update in that. At the moment, I want to satisfy the football fans.
Okay, I want to look at the helicopter crash.
Lost a great man in Leicester helicopter crash. And right here in the studio, I brought you, one of those machines, the helicopter.
If you can see it clearly, and this is it here.
That's
and
right.
For sure,
so that I'll be able to explain, if I find time, I'll be able to explain how this awesome machine works. And
it's also a faithful machine.
Very faithful too. And then I'll tell you. So let's hear the skies running. Clip 1, please. So that time is usually not our friend on this program. Take a look at that photograph. That is the exact plane. As a matter of fact, that's the particular plane that brought that man in, and then as he was leaving the Leicester Stadium, it crashed. As a matter of fact, just 200 meters from the pitch in the car park E. That's why that is called Augusta Westland AW169 helicopter. It comes with 2 engines, and I'm going to explain those to you by the time we move on with this program. So that is the machine. Let's move to clip 2 and be able to introduce what we are doing today.
That's clip 2.
Leicester CTFC helicopter crash. Introduction. October 27th, 2018 was a very sad day for football fans around the world, especially in Nigeria. An Augusta Westland AW169 helicopter operated by Amadeus Aviation crashed in King Power Stadium, Leicester, United Kingdom, killing the Leicester Football Club owner, very mouthful name there, Vichai Srivadhana Prada. That's the man's name. I will from henceforth call him Mr. Vichai, to avoid biting my tongue, and 4 others, including the pilot. Clip 3, please. Description of the helicopter.
Good.
registered as G/4SKP.
4V. 4V.
No, V. G/VSKP. Thank you for that. VSKP. And manufactured in 2016. So just barely 2 years
new aircraft.
I mean, the photograph you're looking at actually was taken on the day they took delivery of that airplane. It was in 2016 that that photograph was taken. It's the exact plane that crashed. The 10-seater Augusta Westland AW169 helicopter weighed about 4,500 kilograms, which is equivalent of 9,900 pound weight. Owned by Foxborough and operated by Amadeus Aviation, the helicopter was powered by 2 Pratt & Whitney Canada PW210A engines. Mr. Vichai was known to frequently travel to and from Leicester City's matches at the King Power Stadium in the helicopter. So, it's been until that fateful day, it's been his regular practice to fly into the stadium, drop at the pitch, and then walk into the stand where he would sit down and watch his players, and then the helicopter would lift off and then go to somewhere, one of the parks, and park. When the game is over, the helicopter comes back and lands on the pitch before fans, and then the big shot of Leicester City Football Club will step in with his bodyguards, and then of course off he lifts back into the skies and head to the airport to fly.
That would be a beautiful sight to behold.
Oh yes,
that is beautiful sight to behold.
Fans always look forward to that, and that was exactly what happened on that fateful day. He lifted off successfully and nicely, and then suddenly something went wrong, and the plane, was spinning and spinning and spinning until it spun out of the skies. But I'm going to explain a few things about this awesome machine when we exhaust our clips, so that let's get to clip 4, please.
Clip 4.
Clip 4. The helicopter flight.
On that fateful day.
Yes. On that fateful day of 27th October 2018, Mr. Vichai traveled in the helicopter to attend Leicester City's Premier League game against West Ham United.
Did you do that match 1-1?
Yes, 1-1. That's correct. He departed Ottershaw, Surrey, United Kingdom, at 14:43 BST. BST is the British summertime, which is usually 1 hour behind us, by the way. Or rather 1 hour ahead of us. I'm sorry, it's usually 1 hour ahead of us. And so that is an equivalent of 13:43 UTC or GMT. UTC is usually known as the Coordinated Universal Time, or the Greenwich Mean Time that we used to know it as. All right, I've explained all those on the clip. He and his 3-man escort arrived at the stadium at 15:58, which is about 2 minutes to 4 p.m. On that fateful day, which is equivalent of 14:58 UTC. Okay, at the end of the game, which ended 1-1.
That's true.
And as usual, the helicopter landed in the middle of the stadium's pitch to pick up Mr. Vichai and his escorts. Clip 5, please. The accident. Mr. Vichai and 3 others, having boarded the helicopter took off from the stadium at about 20:28 BST. Shortly after leaving the stadium at about 20:30, the helicopter entered into a spin.
What's a spin?
Going round and round. I'll finish very quickly.
It was just going round. Okay, go ahead.
I'll finish very quickly and teach you a little bit about this awesome machine. the helicopter entered into a spin and fell to the ground. A witness had claimed he noticed that the tail rotor was not working when the spin was going on, and the helicopter hit hard on the ground like a massive stone in the stadium car park E, about 200 meters from the stadium. The helicopter erupted into a huge ball of fire, consuming all its occupants in a few minutes. 2 British police officers at the car park E who witnessed the crash surged forward to rescue the victims, but the heat from the fire chased them back, leaving them watching helplessly as the victims succumbed to the inferno. Investigators have swung into action to unravel the real cause of the accident. So the accident is still being investigated, but from what the witnesses said they saw, I will be able to give you some little analysis of what could have happened.
Okay.
But let's take a look at clip 6, and then you see first of all the controls. Take a look at that photograph on your left.
Schematic diagram of the helicopter and its control.
Yeah, you will see the cyclic. You see the coloration and the name attached to them.
Yes.
The one
cyclic, the collective, as well as the pedals. And the pedals.
And the pedals. You see those green ones on.
Yes.
Yes, on the foot. Those are that's the cockpit of an average helicopter. Some of them are single pilot that will have the cyclic, in between the legs of the pilot. Some are double. This is representing a double pilot, cockpit, of helicopter model. Now, the cyclic. All right. Now that the viewers have seen all that I'm showing, I would like you to come back to me so that I explain to you quickly using the miniature in the studio.
Okay.
Let me have that miniature.
Fine.
Now, what this machine works with these rotors.
Fine.
You've seen them as they run round and round. Now, what happens is that as this runs round and round, that lever that you saw on that photograph, that's called a collective.
Yeah.
Why it's called collective is that when you pull it collectively twists these blades into high pitch to bite into the air. And what happens is that when you pull and have you wondered why the helicopter will be sitting on the ground and these blades will be flying
very high,
and yet the helicopter stays on the ground?
Yeah.
The only time it lifts off the ground is when the collective is pulled and the pitch of these rotors are increased. They bite the air, push down mass of air
and force it against gravity.
In what is known as downwash. It's called downwash. Now, when the mass of air it pushes down is equal to the weight of this machine, it renders the machine weightless.
Correct.
It leaves the ground. Now, with that same downwash, your cyclic, which is the one you saw there, the green lever,
fine.
That cyclic works in a way that, listen, if you push it forward, it collectively, by the way, let me explain this. There is this little equipment that you have here that is known as swash plate. Okay. Swash plate. This right here. Yeah. It's called swash plate. Now, this swash plate makes it possible for these rotors to move this way, that way, collectively, that way, and that way. So what happens is that vertical downwash that made this aircraft, this helicopter ascend, is a force that is retained as it's still moving with high pitch. Now, if you push forward your cyclic lever, these ones move a little backwards. Now, sending that, or rather, sorry, move a little forward, now sending the air force vertically backwards and giving you forward movement.
That's true.
That principle of action and reaction equal and opposite. That's right.
The law of motion.
That's correct. If you move the cyclic backwards, this moves back.
Forward.
No, if you know this machine can go
round.
This way.
Yeah.
That way. Hover. This way. That way. It's an awesome machine, all-weather machine that you can do anything with. And what gives you that control is that's your cyclic. But more importantly, as concerning this particular accident, as these rotors are moving, this main rotor are moving, they create a force that is known as torque force, T-O-R-Q-U-E, T-O-R-Q-U-E, that is torque. That torque force has a tendency, if this is moving clockwise, it has a tendency of moving the body of the helicopter anti-clockwise.
Okay.
As this is rolling. In order to compensate for that torque force, there is this rear rotor. I'm sure you've noticed it in live helicopter attached at 90 degrees at the tail. All right?
Yeah.
What that rotor does is that as this is moving clockwise, the rotor here is moving anti-clockwise, creating its own torque that tends to move this aircraft this way. Okay. As this other torque is moving the aircraft this way. So what happens? Compensation.
It creates a balance.
It creates a balance. It keeps it has its own swatch plate as well here, because for you to change the direction of the aircraft, you need to step on your pedal. You know, if you step on your pedal, the swatch plate here increases the pitch of this rotor, okay, and gives you that push that yaws you to the direction. And then if you let go, you know, remember naturally this is already creating a torque that is supposed to be taking you to a particular direction. So if you let go of the pitch on this, naturally it goes the opposite direction. And so that is a helicopter for you. So in flying your helicopter, the controls you need will be your collective that you pull to collectively change the pitch of the thing, and then you have the motorcycle kind of throttle attached to that collective, where you increase your power, and you have your two pedals on your legs, and then you have your cyclic. The cyclic is the one that the pilots really enjoy using, because when you want to move this way, you push your cyclic that position. You want to move that way, you push your cyclic on that position. You want to move forward, you push your cyclic forward. You want to go backwards, you push your cyclic backwards, and this machine does everything you want for you. And so that is a helicopter for you. So what is suspected to have happened on that fateful day?
Okay.
Was that
can we go again to clip one? I want to see clip one. Okay. That's the helicopter that crashed in question.
That's right. Yes.
Now we cannot talk from here.
That's the rotor on top.
Good.
And that rotor is you see, it has an beneath that cowling. The cowling is a cover. Yeah. The cover of where you have that. Yeah. Beneath that cowling is an engine that is installed laterally. Okay. It's a kind of horizontal engine. Good. But it has a drive shaft. Like the ceiling fan. Yeah. Like the ceiling wonderful. That's a way that the other person that doesn't know anything about aviation will really understand. Like a ceiling fan. That's very correct. So it has that drive shaft that comes up from a gear attached to the engine. So the drive shaft connects those rotors that you're seeing, and then of course before the rotor is the swatch plate that makes them twist for you and move in every direction that you want them to move. So as that is going round, take a look to the right of the helicopter. at the rear.
Good.
Can you see the small rotor that is marked in red and white? Can you see the red stripes to the right? I mean, to the right of the helicopter.
Okay, yes.
Have you noticed it?
Yeah.
That is the rear rotor that turns opposite direction from the. If this is moving clockwise, that one moves anti-clockwise, and then it creates its own torque, which compensates for the torque generated. Remember what I said to you about the torque force?
If the rear one had not been working,
yes,
like what you say, someone
it will spin.
Okay, there will not be balance.
The main rotor will now generate an uncompensated torque force that will spin the body of the of the helicopter round around,
and they will likely be stalling.
Not likely, it spins you out of your senses.
Out of control.
It's just like you're running around a circle. By the time you do about two circles, or
you get dazed.
You get dazed. That is what happens to the occupants of a helicopter that has lost its rear rotor and is gone into a spin. Now, granted that they haven't gone far into the skies, but they could have been maybe to the height of a 30-story building.
And with that spinning, the plane will crash with force.
You see, what could have happened? First of all, is that by the time you get about 10 spins, that can happen in less than a minute, you would have lost your consciousness. Otherwise, at the low level that helicopter was, if the pilot had not been spun out of his consciousness, all he would need to do would be to gradually bring down his collective. If you bring down that collective lever, if you push it down, it will reduce the pitch on the rotors and then let down.
But at that stage, will you have the balance?
That's the question.
I know. I had an accident where I know somehow someone was overtaken, and I felt to be the good man, and I decided to veer off to prevent the car from hitting me, and I went out of the way. And the car was spinning. I really could not do anything. No. And the luck I had was that it spinned until the back of the car slammed into a tree, and not where I was. And at that point, I had to come down. Luckily, I wasn't cracked, but the car was excessively damaged here. And at that point of spinning, you have to start to shout Jesus.
There's no chance, because it's going to spin you out of your senses and out of your consciousness. And so, what I suspect could have happened to that pilot was as soon as that violent spinning started, he must have quickly dropped his collective fully. He must have pushed it all the way down, leading the helicopter to falling like a piece of stone, straight from the skies, and hit the ground hard enough to break up and erupt into fire. Remember, it's loaded with enough fuel to take them to the 1-hour trip that the man needed to make to the airport where he was heading to. And so,
but should he have lower it gently?
If he had enough consciousness to lower it gently, even with the spinning round and round, the plane will be, the helicopter will be spinning and dropping, but the pitch of the rotor, will still, bring it down like parachute. Like the parachute will bring you down, slowly and nicely, and so that if you drop, you don't hit hard, and perhaps there wouldn't have been fire if the plane had dropped, even with acceptable level of hard dropping. It probably wouldn't have erupted into fire, and had there been no fire, all the occupants would have been alive, because they hadn't gone too high up into the air when they were still within the.
As someone said, the luck they had was that he not even crashed in the stadium.
Yeah, you see, he had lifted off above the height of the stadium and moved forward on his way out when suddenly that incident took place, and somebody said he noticed that the rear rotor stopped working, and as a matter of fact, I agree with that observation, because the only thing that can make this machine spin round and round is the failure of the tail rotor. Once the tail rotor fails, no more compensation for the torque force generated by the main rotor. So the plane, the helicopter will spin. But then, if the pilot on that low level still had some reasonable, if he didn't panic and push down quickly on his collective, the helicopter would not have dropped like a piece of stone. It would have come down like a parachute and then touch down without really, On the touchdown, it might spin. Because of the spinning, it might not land smoothly. It might just hit the ground and spin and maybe roll.
Okay.
So, something like that would have probably happened. And but if there was no fire, they all could most probably have survived. It was fire that really consumed them, because two police officers that witnessed it were said to have, run to the rescue of the individuals, but the fire that erupted had so much heat that they couldn't stand, and so they stepped back and helplessly watched them consumed by fire.
Quite a very sad one here.
Yeah.
Indeed, a very sad one. So most of us who are watching would likely just need to know somehow, if you have all of this information and you find yourself in such a problem, you can even advise your pilot, and you will be so shocked that your pilot, you may be the only one that the pilot needs to actually land safely.
That's correct. I suspect the gentleman that flew that helicopter must have panicked when that spin began, and because they were not too far away up into the skies, he underestimated the momentum with which he was going to fall, and so he could have, within the few seconds of still having his consciousness, pushed down on his collective, which left the airplane.
Somehow, I think that also brings to fore what they will always tell you when you're driving, that should you have a tire burst, don't apply your brake. If you have a tire burst, don't just apply your brake. If you apply your brake, then the car will spin, and maybe you don't know it will take you somewhere.
That's correct. Very correct.
Okay, thank you.
It's unfortunate that happened, and my condolences to all the football fans. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them. I really don't care about football, except when Nigeria is playing.
Well, for
the patriotism in me will make me watch my Nigerian players, but otherwise, I don't sit like I find people sitting all the time watching all the European games, and I really don't spend 1 second of my time doing that.
Okay, thanks a lot for coming, Mr. Godwin Enike. We thank you very much, and we just pray that they conclude the investigation. But somehow, with the way it works there, indeed, everything has been fully programmed. The football club is not going to crash. It's not crashing. A new management team. The management team is on board. Maybe the family will look at who is the head.
As a they're going to play again in a week from that day. I think maybe even this coming Saturday. That they're going to play. The same team are going to meet again, and so life goes on. Unfortunately, and that very worthy gentleman lost his life. Very unfortunate.
Okay, thanks.
I'm very sad.
Thanks indeed for coming. Thanks indeed.
Thank you.
And that's live anyway. All who live in mortal flesh must certainly attest that. That's our consolation.
And then next week we'll keep our promise that we failed today about the Indonesian air crash, and bring update on what happened to that plane and the rest of it.
Okay, be aware that we've not still seen the Malaysian air, the one that disappeared off the sky. So we're looking for so many planes here. Right. We'll take a break. When we return from the break, your darling program at this one on ITV will continue.
As you wake up in the morning,